Hi, today we're going to walk through just a quick tutorial of adding ConnectED into your Canvas account so that students can access the ConnectED Student Learning Center from their Canvas page. So I have here just a draft of a blueprint course, and so this is not a full finished version, but just a draft to give us the idea of what we're working with. So in order to add ConnectED as a item inside of our Canvas course, we're going to head to the modules. And you'll see that I have my initial teacher resources module up here that is not published for students, and then I do have their learning plan module right in here. And again, this is just a sample module, but it gives you the idea of what we're working with. I'm going to go up to that header bar on the module, and I'm going to click the plus icon. I'm going to add ConnectED as an external tool, so I'm going to pull the drop down for external tool. In my menu of tools that pop up, I'm going to look for ConnectED and add that item. When I come back to my module page, that item for ConnectED is added to the very bottom of that module. I can move it around by clicking the three dots here and move it up or down inside of the queue. And that will allow the students to access it from any point inside of that learning plan. Now, this is connected to this particular week's learning plan, and it's not published, so I do need to make sure to publish it in order for students to be able to view it. But let's say I want to move it to the following week's learning plan. Again, I'm going to click on the three dots in the right-hand side, and I will click Move To, and I will send that down to the module that I need it to be attached to, so that students have access to it during that current week of the learning plan. Now that's one way that you can put the ConnectED resources inside of each week's learning plan. There's another way that you can do this as well. You could also add a separate module for just student resources here. And again, clicking the little plus arrow, we can add ConnectED as a separate link inside of this resources item. And then this would be something that would be published for student use. And then you could link to that as well. So that takes it outside of each of the learning plans and just leaves it as a separate resources module. In either case, inside of your learning plan for the day, we'll set up a course link that goes right to it. So let's take a look at one of our math learning plans for September 7th, for example. If I wanted my assignment to be linked right after my lesson, for instance, I've got a couple videos here around converting units of measurement, area and perimeter, and some things like that. Again, this is just a sample menu, so this is not actually a real learning plan generated for student use. But let's say I go ahead and I insert head to the ConnectED Student Learning Center for the game, name that number. And here's where I want to include my link. I will insert a link. It is a course link, and I will link it right into the module that I want it to go to. So in the situation that I might be looking for the learning plan item, or if I have it generated as the separate resources module, I'll link it right here. And I'll save this. And what'll happen then is when students click on my link, it'll take that student inside of my modules right to my ConnectED link, and they can click on this and they can get started with their Student Learning Center. Now, in order for students to be able to click on the Student Learning Center and find the correct lesson that you want them to get to, if you click on ConnectED, it will pull up your teacher resources because it's linked to your Infinite Campus account and to your license inside of ConnectED. You'll see that mine features multiple grade levels, but yours should feature your teacher edition plus the student edition of the corresponding grade level. I'm going to access my third grade teacher edition. And you can see that right now my students, if they clicked inside of their Student Learning Center, would be set on lesson 1-6. day 2. And what I will need to do is, if I haven't yet done it, set up my planner, or if I need to modify my planner, head to the main menu icon and click on Class Management. Right now, this shows my class here inside of this 3rd grade group. And you'll see that I do need a little bit of work in adding my students, but I can also see that I need to edit my planner. From here, I'll edit my planner by setting the correct start date, the end date, the flex day that I would like to select. Remember, everyday math assumes we teach 4 lessons per week and 1 day of differentiation, which is what the flex day is intended to do. I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to program in the days of non-instructional time that we have in the district, taking time off for breaks, professional learning days, and so on. And then inside of the last piece here, if I have a group of learners that might be in that K through 2 area or even 3rd grade, etc., you can choose the simplified login, which gives you those small icons, or you can turn that off in that button there. And then you can choose to lock the assessments, which would basically say that students can't take the unit test until it's assigned to them. Click Save, and my lessons populate here. So if I do need to move something around, instead of altering the entire planner, I'm going to click on the little gear icon. Extending a lesson will take it and branch it from today into the next instructional day, so it spreads it over 2 instructional days. I can change to a non-teaching day. For instance, if there were something like a snow day and we didn't have instruction that day, I can just make it a non-teaching day. It just bumps everything forward. And move lessons forward and backward, I would advise to use with caution, because what it does do is it stacks lessons behind the current calendar date or stacks lessons forward in the current calendar date. So once I have my planner set up, I also know that I needed to come back to class management because I don't have any students in here. You can check to see if you have students in your ConnectED account by looking in that class management tab. They should correspond to the students that are rostered into your Infinite Campus math roster. So if that's not correct, we'll need to talk to your building level person who sets up Infinite Campus and associates math rosters to make sure you have all the correct kids in there. And then you can also add students manually if you'd like to do it that way. So I'm going to click Add Student. And from here, I can leave it on Sacred Heart School or West Des Moines, but I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm going to search for a student. Put in their first and last name. And that student didn't come up. Looks like I didn't spell something correctly, but if I had spelled it correctly, a student's name would populate. I'd click on the little button by their name and then add that student to my class by clicking Save. I would continue to do that process till all my students were added to the class, and I'd have a lovely list of students in my roster. You will also probably need to let that sync in our system for a 24-hour period before having the students access ConnectED Student Learning Center to make sure everything works. And then you should be ready to go. So inside of your Canvas platform, when the kids click on that link for ConnectED in that module, either the resources module or the learning plan module, they should be directed right to the Student Learning Center that corresponds to your lesson of the day. Thanks, and if you have questions, please feel free to reach out and ask away. We can see what we can do for some troubleshooting and find out if there are hiccups along the road, and have great success having our students use the online ConnectED system.